led to the deadly January 6th riot. According to the articles, the president had been laying the groundwork for the riot for months by filing frivolous and harassing lawsuits, making direct threats to state and local officials, and making false public statements to his supporters. The vote to impeach broke down largely along political lines, with all 222 Democrats voting for removal and 197 GOP lawmakers rejecting the resolution, with 4 Republicans abstaining. Passions ran high on both sides of the aisle.
We desperately need to seek a path forward, healing for the American people. So it's unfortunate that a path to support healing is not the path the majority's chosen today.
For years, we have been asked to turn a blind eye to the criminality, corruption, and blatant disregard to the rule of law by the tyrant president we have in the White House.
A vote to impeach would further divide this nation. A vote to impeach will further fan the flames of partisan division.
We should be concerned that the Republicans will not defend him, and he is capable of starting a civil war. He must be impeached. He must be stopped now.
However, 10 Republicans did break ranks, denouncing the president's actions and voting for impeachment.
Last week, there was a domestic threat at the door of the Capitol, and he did nothing to stop it. That is why, with a heavy heart and clear resolve, I will vote yes on these articles of impeachment.
The impeachment comes just 7 days before the president is set to leave office, making him the first president in history to be impeached twice. The case against the president now moves on to the Senate, where a 2/3 majority will be required to remove the president from office. On Twitter today, a spokesperson for the outgoing House Majority Leader Mitch McConnell confirmed the senator would not consent to reconvening immediately, guaranteeing a trial in Biden's term. In a letter to fellow Republicans, McConnell insists he plans to keep an open mind, writing, "While the press has been full of speculation, I have not made a final decision on how I will vote, and I intend to listen to the legal arguments when they are presented to the Senate." If the Senate votes to convict, an additional vote requiring a simple majority would be needed to bar Trump from ever seeking office again.
And joining me, Court TV anchor Michael Ayala is with us tonight. Michael, has the president issued any sort of response to today's second impeachment?
Well, not directly, Vinny. As we know, he's been blacked out of social media. And as one of the senators said today, one of the House reps said today, the Ayatollah can tweet, but Trump can't. But he did release a video. And in that video, he actually speaks to the violence and says, with the idea that there may be more, he says, look, we don't want any more violence. He actually condemns the previous violence. But at the end of the video, he does mention the fact that we have to stop canceling each other. We have to respect the First Amendment. And as we know, this impeachment trial is going to be a lot about the First Amendment, whether his words went too far and violated the First Amendment or are in fact protected by the First Amendment. So indirectly, he spoke to it, but not directly.
All right. And why is the impeachment trial not happening immediately?
All right. Well, the Senate is in recess, Vinny, right now. Now, in order to get them back to work, Senator McConnell would have to get a unanimous vote by every senator saying it's okay to do what they call an emergency session. Now, he's surprised by some obscure legislation that was brought up by Charles Schumer. He's a Democrat from New York, the minority leader. And this legislation that was signed in 2004 says if the minority leader and the majority leader agree, you can have an emergency session. Well, Mitch McConnell said, no, we're not going to do that. And that basically makes sure that this is going to happen at the first or at the beginning of President-elect Biden's new term. Now, Biden, there was some suggestion that there was worry that, in fact, if it came at the beginning of the term, it would, affect or distract from what he had to do. But he has said, look, he's all for it. He said half of the day the Senate can focus on the impeachment hearings, and on the other half they can focus on issues of my administration. So it looks like the earliest it can start is the 19th, but the arguments can't start till 1 p.m. the following day. So expect January 20th arguments to begin.
Yeah, all right, half the day on getting the new administration in, half the day on trying to keep President Trump from ever running again. When are they going to take care of the rest of us? Right? Don't we send them to Washington to take care of us? I mean, it's all like, all right, we'll take care of the administration. We'll take care of the old administration. How about all the people who've lost their businesses? How about the people who don't have money? How about the people who are getting sick? All right, I'm sorry. All right, what is the Senate trial going to look like, by the way, Michael?
Well, the Senate trial, you know, we don't really know, Vinny. As we've talked about many times, there are no particular rules written in the Constitution. A lot of that is done by Congress. They do it as they see fit, as it goes along. Of course, the evidence will be presented by House members led by Chuck Schumer, and they'll bring in evidence. The main piece of evidence, of course, being that video and some of the words and actions of the president leading up to January 6th. The president will have lawyers. But I thought about that question, so I called on Michael Gerhardt. We've called on him a couple of times in the last few days. He's an impeachment expert, a constitutional law professor at the University of North Carolina. And here's what he had to say about what the trial might look like.
I would imagine that it'll be streamlined. Probably no need to call President Trump, possibly call some people who had worked closely with Trump in the White House, but also call people who were witnesses to what happened in the Senate. Keep in mind that everything that happened that's the subject of this impeachment is on tape for the entire world to see. So it's not going to require a lot of digging to be able to simply play the tape that shows Trump encouraging the mob and showing what the mob did to wreck property in Congress and undertake activity that resulted in 5 deaths.
Yeah, and Vinny, we're not sure about the standard of proof. Again, the Constitution doesn't speak to it. Many say it should be beyond a reasonable doubt because the stakes are so high, but we just don't know. And it's going to boil down to a First Amendment issue. Were the words spoken by the president on that day protected by the First Amendment, or did they go too far?
But at the end of the day, even if they are protected, the Senate can do whatever they want to do, right? It's not like there's a judge who's going to throw out the evidence or grant a motion to dismiss. The Senate does what they want to do, which is, it's interesting because it's legal in nature because it all comes from the Constitution, right? But unlike what we do here at Court TV day in and day out, where we have courtrooms and rules of evidence and elements of crimes and statutory crimes with penalties, everything's kind of laid out and it's been litigated tons and tons of times. They haven't done this many times, number one. And number two, the Constitution doesn't lay out any of the specifics at all.
Yeah, as ex-President Gerald Ford said, high crimes and misdemeanors are really whatever the Congress thinks it is at that time. And on some level, Vinny, that's appropriate. I mean, we have to be sort of only a product of the times that we're in. So we're going to take a look at it, or the senators will take a look at it based on the times that we're in, the situation as it existed, and figure out if it rises to the level of high crimes and misdemeanors such that he should be impeached. But as we well know, oftentimes this boils down to political lines, political beliefs. Not sure there's going to be the numbers that they need to get an actual impeachment. I believe it's 17. It's a 50-50 count now once the new term begins. And you'll need about 17 or 67 to get that 2/3 vote. I think that's going to be a tough hill to climb.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, once again, it's as you said, political in nature because politicians are running it. They are the triers of fact. They're the jury. So it's fascinating. And unlike the juries in our cases, they talk about it ahead of time. Like Mitch McConnell said, well, I haven't made up my mind yet. Good. The trial hasn't happened, right? You shouldn't have your mind made up before the trial, before any arguments, before any evidence.
But Vinny, let me tell you what, it's significant that Mitch McConnell made that statement. He is the leader of the Republicans. And the fact that he has not backed Trump, the fact that he said that he's even willing to have an open mind and listen to the evidence, I think sends a message to other Republicans who might have been on the fence, who might have wanted to toe the party line. But now the party line is, let's listen to the evidence and really vote with our conscience. So I think that bodes well overall if you're a Democrat looking to get this impeachment to go through. So I think that was a significant point that he made. And one other thing I want to say, Vinny, is that while it is a political process, a lot of the senators are going to be concerned about what their constituents will think. And I think that's important. That's what the political process is all about. You want to make sure that the people are represented properly, and that's what's going to happen in that room.
Yeah, and then I look at the flip side of Mitch McConnell having an open mind, and there's a whole lot of senators who don't have an open mind that have made up their minds already, right? So, I mean, maybe part of the process should be, all right, whoever wants to vote before the trial starts, put your vote in now, and we'll have the trial for the undecideds, and we'll see, are there enough undecideds here to have a trial or not? I mean, it almost is like a kangaroo court in some sense. And again, it's all a result of that's the way the Constitution set it up. So we shall see.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Well, of course, Court TV will be here. Michael Ayala will be covering it. Thank you so much.